Welcome to the second and middle part of my rushed and yet somehow really slow to put out look at past year cinematically. This middle part is movies that I really liked, movies that were ranging from good to actually kind of great, but the way these things work, obviously they didn't make it into my top 10, and obviously they were not bad or terrible or mediocre, so they were not anywhere near the bottom 10. So these are, yes, do check all of them out. Different levels of recommendation and commendation, obviously, but none of these are bad by any means. So without a further ado, let's get into it. Reaching our shores a couple of weeks after the rest of the world and literally making it into 2018 on the first day here, making it barely a 2018 movie. Pitch Perfect 3 was actually my first Pitch Perfect movie I ever watched. True story. Went in and saw that it was actually okay and went back and watched the other two. So without the extra, I guess, baggage of the first two movies, I came onto this complete blank slate, not sure about anything, no idea who these characters are, no idea what the whole thing is. All I know is it's a cappella, so let's see what happens. And as for that, I think, yeah, I enjoyed it well enough. It was fun. It was dumb at points, obviously, as these kind of movies are, but the music was great. The covers of all the classic songs that everybody loves, that I love, are great. Honestly, it's like Glee. You come in there for the songs, everything else is pretty much secondary. And yeah, I kind of do wish I watched the first two movies first, because that would give me a lot of context and sort of connections to the characters that I didn't have going into this as I did. But even on its own, even without anything else, even as a standalone thing that I would have just watched and left be, as if, haha, but if I did, it was fine. It was fun, it was fun, it was funny. It didn't drag, honestly. It didn't. It actually had pretty good pacing. That's actually kind of surprising there. Some of the comedy didn't land particularly great, but that was the thing, that the pacing kind of overrode that. So even if a bad joke was there, it sort of we kind of went into the next thing before the bad taste was too stale in our mouths, so to speak. And yeah, overall just a fun time, I guess. As for the first movie of the year that I've watched in 2018, it was actually a good opening. You know, even though it was the end of a thing. Charming. That's the word I would use to describe Christopher Robin, the movie. I should clarify that. It's charming. It's got a charming little story, charming little characters, a charming, just overall, just a charming. It even looks charming. The characters look charming as all hell. I really love the effects on them. They look as if they would actually be there. I would love to get plushies of these things because they look so. They look otherworldly, yes, but they also look. You could almost imagine one sitting next to you and chatting to you. I would love to chat to Tigger. I mean, having some fun with that bouncy old tiger. That'd be pretty fun. But despite all the charm that it's got, it sort of saves it for the last half or third of the film. Yeah, if there's one thing, one big grating issue with this movie, it's pacing. It takes a long time to get off of its ass to do something. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the point. These stories always had a kid and then with his little animal friends just going around places, and most of it was just them walking around places. But I don't know, it wasn't boring, but at the same time you just had this tapping, well, rather I had this tapping food phenomenon where we're just waiting for something to happen. So I guess it's good. It's not amazing. The last, again, like I said, but the last act of it is, because it's finally, when it's finally doing stuff, doing the Winning the Pooh stuff, doing the stuff with the characters that it has. Um, that's when it's great. For the majority of it, though, it's pretty much a message of being an adult sucks, and that's kind of just how it is. That's kind of how it is. Just deal with it. It's you're not always the kid. You can't always be a kid. Eventually, you grow up, and it's just horrible, because life is apparently horrible. Yeah, they really dip into some strange little periodic imagery in it. It diverts in so many ways, but I don't know. I like it. It's cute. It's charming. Again, yeah, that word. Like I said, I would describe it as charming. But give it a lot of patience. This is a movie that really needs your patience, because honestly, it pays off. Honestly, it pays off. Just be patient with it. It's The Grinch. I really don't know what to say here. You know what you're getting. You're coming in to get what you know you're getting. There's nothing really else to it. I mean, I could say that animation-wise and style-wise, it is probably the most adorable film of 2018. One of, definitely. It brings in some, I guess you could say, strangely modern sensibilities into the story. Little touches here and there, but it definitely is this generation's Grinch, really. Jim Carrey's was my generation's Grinch, I guess. And then this generation will have this one. And as far as that goes, yeah, it's good. It's great. It's fun. It's a good family flick. And again, you know what you're getting because it's The Grinch. Nothing else to really say except, yeah, check it out. If it's your thing, it's your thing. If it's not, then you're not missing out on anything. The midpoint twist / musical number in this film is one of my favorites of the year. It's just when it goes, you kind of think it goes one way, but then it doesn't, and it surprises you, shocks you, and again, it's one of my favorite musical arrangements of this year, just of anything. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Smallfoot is good. Honestly, that's really all I can say. It's better than I feel like it should have been, or I feel like it's better than I expected. Let's just put it that way. It's definitely better than I expected. It's fun. It's funny. It's got way too many musical numbers. It's not a Disney film. I mean, come on, what the hell? But yeah, way too many musical numbers. But like I said, the mid one, the main thing of it, the one that sort of kind of reveals the main message of the film, I guess. It's just, it's beautiful. I love it. I listen to it on repeat. It's just, better let lie. Oh, so good. And yeah, but honestly, beforehand and afterwards, still great film. Still not great, good. Still a good film. So fun. Fun for the whole family, really. Some surprisingly hilarious slapstick. Like, oh my goodness, it's sort of at a certain point it lays on the slapstick, and I was just cackling. I was cackling at it, honestly, just hilarious. But it's a kind of film that you sort of feel is a bit predictable, and it is a bit predictable up to, again, a point. Oh my goodness, I don't want to spoil it, but honestly, up to the point it's predictable, and then past that point, it's sort of predictable as well. But that one bit flavors the whole thing. Just what 5 minutes worth of musical arrangements and words and everything, just visuals and everything together, just flavors this film in such a way that just without it, yeah, it would have been a decent little flick, but with it, it's still a decent little flick, but with a deeper message to it. So, yeah, no, definitely check it out. Definitely worth your time. Yeah, awesome. Well, They were really serious about making this a thing, eh? Huh. Well, the first one was great. Rogue One was amazing. Favorite Star Wars movie to date. Cool. Let's see how this goes, huh? Yeah, turns out that the biggest sin Solo a Star Wars story has committed is to be called Solo a Star Wars story and have anything to do with Star Wars and Solo. Because take all those elements out, which is like, what, one, two, a couple elements, like, take those two things out, and it's actually an entertaining, decent, not amazing, but decent heist flick with some little undertones of politics? I don't know. There was like a weird droid that was pushing for droid rights sort of thing. Huh. But no, a decent heist film whose, again, only sin was to have anything to do with Star Wars and to take a riff on the origin story of one of the most iconic characters from that series. Not much else to really say. Wow, this is not off to a good start. This is like what, the fifth film I'm into right now, and I'm just running out of things to say. But honestly, because of these last 5 films, there's not much to say. You take a look at the poster and you know what you're getting most of the time. With this one, you just know that honestly, the only thing wrong with this film is its title and the name of two of its main characters, and just the world it's in, I suppose. Yeah, no, but honestly, it's not bad. It's decent. It's not the worst thing we've seen to come out of Star Wars brand by far. It's nowhere the best, obviously. It's the middle ground. Solo honestly hits that middle ground where you can watch it, you can enjoy it, and you come away going, yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't have missed much if I didn't watch it, but I'm not regretting the last couple hours of my life that I spent watching it, you know. I don't know how well it, is how good it is for repeat viewing, how well it lends itself to repeat viewings, but from the one time I saw it, it was okay. It was okay. Based on a game of the same name from 30 odd years ago about giant monsters beating up everything in sight, Rampage gives us a bunch of giant monsters beating up everything in sight. And it's perfect, and I love it, and it's great, it's fun, it's really brutal as well, the action. That's what I like about it. It's surprisingly brutal. It's actually surprising with how brutal it is, but it's great. It's honestly, it's great. It's the definition of just a popcorn flick, this one. You just sit down, you eat some popcorn, and you watch the carnage unfold. And yeah, there's nothing really else to it. This is, again, the kind of movie you really know what you're gonna get when you go into it, and you get exactly what you went into it to get, and it's fun. Dumb fun, but that's sometimes what we need, and without any complicated plot lines, without any weird ambiguous motivations, without things being complicated for the sake of being complicated. No, the plot here is exactly what it needs to be. It's there to just funnel the action, to just put the spotlight on these giant, what it was, gorilla, it was like a wolf and a crocodile, and these giant monsters, and then just all the awesome, amazing action that you're gonna get out of them when they fight each other, when they fight people, when they destroy pretty much everything around them. It's great. It's honestly great. If you're a fan of fun action films, if you're a fan of fun monster films, if you just want to get a good King Kong film, haha, definitely check this one out. So, turns out the key to making a good Die Hard sequel is to, well, make Die Hard. And apparently star The Rock in it. Yeah, so Skyscraper, despite its title, is very obvious for what it is, and for what it is actually freaking amazing. I watched it twice, and I loved it twice, and I am totally gonna definitely watch it again at some point at home. Get it at home, watch it at home, because oh my goodness, this is honestly the Die Hard sequel that we wanted, without it being Die Hard, but it's so clearly Die Hard, but it's not. It's gone the opposite route of the stuff like Ghost in the Shell or Solo Star Wars Story, where those things were some basic generic ass things, but they decided to slap on the big brand franchise names on themselves and just shot themselves in the foot. Skyscraper went the opposite way and delivered a truly spectacular film. Because yes, the big thing of this film, the big point of this film is spectacle, and it delivers. It's great. The action is fun. The intense moments are truly intense. The gasp moments are so gasp. You actually have a crowd in the film gasping with you. It's great. I love it. It's great. The plot, I guess, is pretty much again a vehicle to deliver the spectacle, and yeah, no, I don't really have much to say. It's Die Hard the way Die Hard should be, but without being called Die Hard, and starring The Rock. What else you want, fool? The first Ant-Man flick knew exactly what it wanted to be. It was a smaller, more personal film, and in essence it was Mission Impossible Dance, which is a great idea in theory and turns out in practice. But again, it knew exactly what it wanted to be. It knew exactly the scope it had to work within, and it worked brilliantly within that scope. Ant-Man and the Wasp, on the other hand, is a film that sort of tries to pretend to be large, but it's obviously a small film working kind of a bit grossly outside of its scope, and it shows. It really shows, because it tries to do big things, but doesn't quite fall flat on its face, but definitely stumbles, which is not to say that it makes the film any less entertaining. It's still definitely entertaining and definitely fun, but again, it's sort of a case of not mistaken identity, more like misshapen identity, I guess. Because again, it tries to lump on a bunch of things that it doesn't need, a bunch of extra kind of baggage that it doesn't need to try and appear big and epic and everything, but it's still the same small Mission Impossible with ants, and it doesn't really need to be much more. So I don't get it. I don't get the need, the supposed posturing effect all that's doing. It's like one of those puff fish, It looks fine and then it goes poof, and it looks ridiculous, but it's still the same fish. It's kind of cool and fun, but it's I don't know where I'm going with this. Point being, while this one was good, I prefer the first one, because while the first one was exactly what it wanted and needed to be and knew exactly what it should be, this one kind of tries to be what it isn't, and doing so diminishes the overall value of the product, while not completely ruining the film, I guess. So definitely worth checking out. It's a Marvel film, so you're gonna get a fun film out of it anyway, so whatever my gripes with it are, it's still a fun, entertaining flick that's definitely worth anybody's time. Venom could have easily been like a turd in the wind, but it actually scrapes by just fine. And that is mostly thanks to Tom Hardy and the visual effects team that brought us the most amazing comic book accurate version of the character we've been waiting for since Spider-Man 3. God damn, how did it take this long? But it was worth the wait, because holy shit, when Venom in his full symbiote glory is on screen, it is glorious. It is gorgeous. I love it. I could rewatch those bits over and over and over. I would make wallpapers out of screenshots of that because it's just that great. The rest of the film is decent. So, yeah, the usual story. Brock finds the symbiote latches onto him, and they try to save the world. Great. It's not exactly Shakespearean, I suppose, but the plot is functional. The acting, for the most part, is functional. Again, Tom Hardy's acting overall is just phenomenal in this. Venom, the way he acts is so much like the character, and at the same time not weird. He sort of flip-flops in a way, I guess, which is a bit weird, but doesn't ruin the film by any means. The big final, I'm gonna sort of skip ahead, I guess, and say the big final fight is pure CGI mess. You can barely see what's going on. So, same visual effects that I just praised. What the hell, man? What the hell? What was that? What were you trying to do with that? I just don't. But back from rambling and backpedaling to the actual film overall, great. It's great, and again, it gives me one of my favorite songs of the year, Venom by none other than Eminem. Oh my goodness, that's just out of nowhere, and I love it. But beyond that, though, as a post, Marvel team up to get Spider-Man into the MCU attempt at a standalone movie separate from MCU, this actually turned out pretty good. Yeah, I really liked it. It looks good. It isn't dull by any means. Again, I'm sort of using that word a lot here because I sort of judge movies on the merit of how much fun I had with them. And with this movie, I had tons of fun. It's not a perfect film by any means. It's not a amazing film by any means, but it's definitely a fun one and definitely worth the time if you enjoy the character. Worth the time if you just want to see a decent, solid action flick, and worth the time if you're a Tom Hardy fan. What's there not to love? Holy shit. When the opening fight started in this film and in Creed 2, I winced. I legitimately winced because kudos to the audio technicians, to the audio team, because I felt every punch. My God. I felt every punch. It was ridiculous. It was awesome. And the same could be said for the movie because I felt every punch there too. Not just with the fights themselves, but every emotional punch that it swung at you throughout this flick, because the stakes are high. History is on the cusp of repeating itself, and it kind of almost does. And, the past comes back to bite you on the ass, and it's just, what are you going to do? So, my exposure to the Rocky films is minimal. I watched the first one, same as everybody else. And I am aware of the Apollo Creed versus Drago, the big Russian guy played by Dolph Lundgren, fight that cost Creed Sr. his life way back when in Rocky 2? 3? I think? Not sure. Don't kill me. Not aware, not a fan, don't care. But I'm aware, I know of the implications, I know of the emotional baggage that is. And this film, Creed 2, it takes that emotional baggage and it swings it like a bowler. Cricket reference, by the way. Like a bowler full speed at your head and you're not wearing a helmet. Boom. Oh my God. Powerful piece. Powerful. Also, I never watched Creed. Just want to bring it out there. I never watched Creed. I watched this, but I never watched Creed. And I still felt every physical punch, every emotional punch, every moment where you would just feel crushed by the weight of everything in this film. Wow. I mean, wow. And honestly, this is what I want to say is, even if you don't like the Rocky series. And if you don't care for Creed, Creed 2 is definitely worth your time to check out, because it is just amazing how, by itself, I guess with the need of previous films, because it brings the context in. It doesn't rely on you knowing, on you casting your mind back to all those years ago. No, it brings it in. It does bring it, put in the film. It does sort of kind of show you what the whole shebang is about. And the thing is, the emotional weight of it all is not lessened by it. Me, effectively a newcomer in the scene, effectively not caring for the rest of the series, of the whole thing, I felt the full emotional weight of that. I felt how just, oh wow, I don't know, I'm lost for words, because I just, every time I remember this movie, I feel my chest practically tightening as like this invisible fist just punches it, and I just go, oh my god, that was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. And again, a sequel in a long line of sequels to a movie I watched God knows back when, to the point I don't even really remember, except for that, of course, key moment where he catches his sweat. Ugh, what was that all about? You know, but the one that I actually really, really enjoyed, honestly, Mission Impossible Fallout, despite my lack of involvement with the series beforehand, is one of the best action films of the year, and one you just can't tear your eyes away from, because every frame something is happening, every second something is happening. How is Tom Cruise still alive? I mean, he's still doing his own stunts in this, right? How is he still alive? The shit he pulls in this, oof, man, just oof. So, yeah, I mean, if you're already a fan of this series, of this movie series, I should say, you're definitely gonna watch it and love it. If you're not, still watch it, because you're still gonna love it, and yeah, enjoy it, because, I mean, holy shit, man, just dun 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 do 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 do. Ha! Phew. Well, that's over and done with. Wow, that was really challenging to do, because a lot of these films, I just didn't know what to say about them, because you just for a lot of them you just took a look at the poster and you're like, yep, I know exactly what it is. I know exactly what I'm gonna get. I know it. I just know it. Because either it's a sequel in a long line of sequels, so you're there because you're a fan already and you're gonna go to see it for exactly what it's gonna show you, or it's a rendition of something from way past when, and again, something that you'll know what it will give you, and you're exactly going to see it because you want it to give you what you'll know it'll give you. Or just movies so straightforward, so just point A to point B, because and then again, you know exactly what you're gonna get, and you go in that to get exactly what you're gonna get. God, like what's the point of me talking about? Just put a picture, go here, and you go and then this one here, ooh, and that one here, yeah. I mean, really. Anyway, I'm glad this one is done and over with. I mean, these were again all the films that I enjoyed a lot, but were not anywhere near my favorites of the year. These are coming up in the next part, in the final part, and yeah, let's get this one over with so I can get to that one. Okay, bye bye.